Follow me on Twitter. So in my most recent podcast, me and Jalen talks about a very peculiar situation that could potentially arise in the future of Tokyo Ghoul Re. Now, this situation is surrounding Mutsuki, Kaneki, and Toka. If you guys go back and read the most recent chapter of Tokyo Ghoul, there is a color page, which, mind you, Ishida likes to foreshadow a lot of events in his manga, as well as his color pages. Now, I'm not saying this is specifically true or that it could happen. I just thought it was rather interesting that people managed to pick this up and tell Jalen, which obviously Jalen told me, and we discussed it in the podcast. Now, the color page focuses on Toka with blood all on her stomach and some very peculiar text at the top of the page, which says something along the sorts of seeds that bloom are beautiful, or something along the sorts. I'm not entirely sure. Something implying to pregnancy. Now, I thought I would make this a separate video on its own because I kind of like the concept of it. As much as it is very un-Tokyo Ghoul-esque for something like this to happen, I feel like there's always that little twist or that element that adds to something that's too lighthearted for Tokyo Ghoul to make it pretty fucked up. So we talked about the possibility of Toka and Kaneki actually having a child, which is something that I made a video on a very long time ago, and I never thought it would come true, let alone them tease it, if anything. However, with the most recent chapters with Toka kind of confessing her love to Kaneki, and the fact that she seems willingly to have sex with him and kind of push their relationship further in the future, obviously could lead to them having a child. Now, like I said, very un-Tokyo Ghoul-esque, right? It's probably something that we won't really see in this series, let alone portrayed. I understand we get to see a little bit of romance, but, you know, nothing too head-on, so I doubt we'll ever get to see them going on dates or some random shit like that because un-Tokyo Ghoul, right? However, I can definitely see a time skip variant where in the future, because Tokyo Ghoul likes to take just random ass time skips, like by months and weeks and whatnot. So going back to the color page, there is a picture of Toka supposedly pregnant with blood on her stomach, and people thought that this would be the downfall of her pregnancy. So you can imagine if Kaneki were to get Toka pregnant, that it would be quite a joyous moment. And I always thought that maybe potentially Kaneki could have a child in the future to kind of continue his legacy of the One-Eyed King, if that makes sense. Now, as fucked up as that may seem, and how the specifics works of having a child in the Tokyo Ghoul universe, it seems a little bit confusing because theoretically Kaneki is still human when it comes to trying to have a child. I believe it doesn't affect that part of him, whereas Toka is obviously a full ghoul. Now, this could potentially lead to Kaneki having a half-ghoul son, but backwards, if that makes sense. Usually for half-ghouls to be created, the mother has to be human and the father has to be a full ghoul, where obviously in this situation, if it were to happen, it's backwards. But that's probably something for another video. Either way, if something like this were to happen, I don't think it'd be as straightforward as just a normal pregnancy. Going back to the color page, you could theoretically say that Toka will come into some pretty iffy situations when she's heavily pregnant, which could also lead to 1, the death of Toka, and 2, the death of Kaneki's unborn child. I know, it sounds pretty fucked up, right? But this is something I believe Tokyo Ghoul could do very well. They wouldn't play on it super heavily. We probably wouldn't even know that Toka's pregnant until we start seeing it, or if Toka actually comes out and says it to Kaneki at some point. But you can imagine if she were pregnant, she were to get killed by Mutsuki. This is kind of like the only person relevant towards Toka and Kaneki at the moment, and regarding the whole romance and relationship situation. If Mutsuki were to kill Toka, not knowing that Kaneki's child was in there, you could see how extremely fucked up that would be. I think it would add a super sick element to the story, as much as many people probably don't want to see this whole romance bloom, or, you know, Toka getting potentially pregnant and whatnot. I feel like if the situation were to happen, that Ishida would take the chance to try and kill Toka or kill Kaneki's unborn child, which I just can't get out of my head how extremely grim that is. Obviously, losing a child is horrific, and I wouldn't wish that for anyone to experience, but losing an unborn child as well as a mother at the same time is like a whole nother level. All in all, I'm not too sure how I feel about this romance, as well as this supposed pregnancy, Toka getting killed and Kaneki's child getting killed at the same time. Like I said, I think it would add like an interesting twist to the story if we were to find out like later on down the line that Toka was pregnant and that, you know, something comes up and she gets killed. Pretty far-fetched, pretty un-Tokyo Ghoul-esque. I'm not entirely sure, but it could be quite interesting to see how everything kind of unravels after that with Kaneki's mentality and how he actually approaches the situation and comprehends the situation of Toka dying as well as his unborn child. I'm sure that would throw him into a frenzy and we'd see a very evil side of Kaneki most likely come out to play. So let me know what you guys think, however, because I know this is kind of controversial at this point. It's like a 50-50, like you like it or you don't like it. So let me know what you think. Go look at the color panel on the most recent chapter with Toka and the blood on her stomach and the text referring to pregnancy and whatnot. It's rather interesting. So with that being said, I'm actually going to end the video off here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.